Today's webinar on Atlona Conferencing Solutions. My name is Ricky Pishoff. I'm one of the technical trainers here at SnapAV, and I'll be the moderator for today's webinar. Before we get started, let's go through a few quick housekeeping items. First, we will be recording the presentation, and we'll send you a link to the video by email within the next few days. That email will also include a coupon code for the special offer that was mentioned in the invite email. And lastly, we are planning on having time at the end of the presentation for a Q&A session. So please feel free to send in your questions at any time during the webinar. You can do that using the question and answer feature in the webinar control panel. Okay, now I'd like to introduce today's presenter, Ken Eagle, who is the Global Director of Training and Technical Sales at Atlona. We also have with us Andy Balassi with SnapAV, who is the Product Development Manager for our distributed products lines. And Andy will be answering some questions and come in toward the end of the presentation today. So without any further delay, welcome Ken, and I'll pass it over to you.
Hey Ricky, this is actually Andy. I'm just going to jump in for a minute for Ken. Like to ditto all the things Ricky said. Welcome everybody. It's great to have you. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day to join us on this webinar. It's very good to have you, and we appreciate your time. It's always great to have our partners here. We have great relationships with them, and we always look forward to putting on webinars and trainings for you guys so that you can learn more about the products and hopefully be able to pass that knowledge on to your customers and to your business to make better profits and better installs. So without further ado, let me go ahead and turn it over to Ken.
Okay. Well, I apologize about that, guys. It looks like you can hear us, so I'm gonna continue on. So back where I left off, one of the most common questions we get asked about conference rooms are, what are the most common type of rooms that you install? And the answer I get back from everyone are that they do single display rooms. That's kind of the most common. Yes, sometimes there are two displays and some special cases with multiple displays, but largely these are single display rooms with 1 to 6 sources with audio and some basic control. So what does that look like? So got a couple of pictures here to show you. It could be a room like this. This could be a lecture hall. This could be a hotel ballroom where we've got 20 plus people set up with a front and a speaker with some audio, basic audio reinforcement in there. Could be a medium-sized conference room where we've got 6 to 10 people in a room participating in the conference. Could be something a bit more advanced like this training room. Could be 2 displays in a training room. Certainly multiple sources inside of a training room, and sometimes even multiple locations where the presenter might be presenting from. And even small conference rooms like this where I've got maybe 4 to 6 participants in close range. And even video conference solutions like you see here. There's actually 2 displays. Note there's a camera in the front of the room. Oftentimes these rooms are going to involve video conference and possibly even the use of Skype. So we're going to take a look at some products that fit every one of these types of applications that you see here today. So a couple more questions I would like to ask you about these conference room solutions. The first question is, what would you like to pay for this solution? Second question, what is the size of the installation team that you would like to send out to the job site to install this kind of conference room solution? Third question, what percentage of the installation do you want to spend on setting up and building the control system? And fourth question, how much time do you want to spend supporting the application after you've installed it? And the answer that Atlona offers is as little as possible. Now let me go back a slide and let's clarify. What would you like to pay for this conference room solution? Answer, as little as possible. Second, how many guys would you like to send out to install this solution? As few as possible. What is the percentage of installation time you want to spend on the control system? As little as possible. Now keep in mind there certainly is a revenue model for very expensive control systems where you have a lot of programming, but in these simple conference applications like the pictures I just showed you, That's not the case. We want this to be simple, easy. You want to get in quick, build that conference room, and get out. And last question, how much time do you want to spend supporting the application after it's installed? And again, the answer is as little as possible. All right, so how do we do that? Well, we're going to take a look at this ecosystem of all these different applications out there. And starting with the top circle and going around clockwise, we'll look at how we do this for small meeting spaces, then executive and mid-sized spaces, video conference solutions, classroom education spaces, and finally we'll touch on some unique multi-purpose spaces and how you can use Atlona and Snap tools to build out solutions for these applications. All right, so let's take a look starting with the small and modern meeting spaces. This here is a product called the HDVS 150. Now, if you're familiar with the HD base T technology, you'll know that you have a transmitter and a receiver with HD base T. And that's what we have here. Now, you're seeing the front and back view of each of these. It's kind of stacked on top of each other. You're just seeing the front and the back. So when the transmitter's on the left, the receiver's on the right. And the transmitter is actually a switcher built to be able to switch two HDMIs and a VGA input, and the receiver has a scaler built into it and audio de-embedding. Now, if you look at the diagrams I've got at the top, starting on the left, here's a simple, small conference solution. I got 4 seats in here, 2 presenters, and a display on the wall. Perfect place to put an HDVS 150. Beside that, in the middle, you've got a podium, a lectern, where a presenter or a teacher might speak from, and then that receiver is connected to a projector up in the ceiling. Another perfect solution. And this HDVS 150 utilizes the HD base T Class B chipset, which means you can transmit from the transmitter to the receiver up to 70 meters or 230 feet. And then the far right is just a complete diagram, but also showing the addition of an audio amplifier and speakers in there. So let's take a look at a few more examples for the HDVS 150. Certainly small conference and meeting spaces like you see right here are a perfect place where you have 1 to 3 presenters. You want to be able to quickly switch between them to a display. Here's another great example. I travel around the country quite a bit and I see these everywhere. This is a multi-purpose room. The thing is, today, this might be set up for a banquet. Tomorrow, it's set up for a conference room. On the weekend, it's hosting a Boy Scouts meeting. The point is, it changes every day. And in a dynamic environment like that, that business owner, that building owner, needs a product that is sturdy, stable, can kind of tuck away, but is very functional when it needs to be used. And the HDVS 150 does just that. Again, that receiver will mount up at a projector or behind a display, and it has a scaler built in. So each presenter who comes in with their, let's say, laptop, they maybe have a different resolution. This little scaler is going to scale their laptop resolution to match that display on the wall every time. And that transmitter can be mounted under a table, on a wall. It can be put into a podium. It can be even put into a floor box on the floor and then covered up when things move away. So this is a very versatile product. And here's a nice corporate solution. As I travel around different buildings, I see this solution all the time. Here's a small room. It's got 2 to 4 seats inside of it with a display on the wall. And a couple people just want to pop in there and share some ideas. There's a great place to locate an HDVS 150. Now, another solution for this same type of application is a product called the SC500. Now, this is for a very small room, and this, think of the HDVS 150, which was a transmitter and receiver, squish those together into one box, and now you have the SC500. So the output on this is just an HDMI cable. There's no HD base T connection with a transmitter and a receiver. So if you have a small room like you see in my photo here, a table with a display right beside it, and you can reach it with a 25-foot or less HDMI cable, then you can connect right to this, and you have a full presentation switcher in a sub $500 box. 2 HDMI inputs, a VGA input, auto switching is built in. This box can even be built to turn on and off the display for your presenters so they can be extremely hands-off. All right, that's called the SC500, and it will scale resolutions up to 1920 by 1200. Now, to complete this HDVS solution, you can pair the SC500 or the HDVS 150 with the PA 100G2 amplifier that you see on the left. This is a 40-watt amplifier with a pair of episode 150 in-ceiling speakers, Or if you prefer 70 volt, you could use the Episode 70 volt digital amplifier with some Episode 250 commercial series 70 volt two-way speaker ceiling speakers as well. So there's a couple different solutions there, but for those small spaces, you have a complete presentation switcher and scaler with an audio system built into one solution, and you can obtain that complete solution through Snap AV. All right, let's step up now and look at the executive and mid-size meeting spaces. Now, I've got three products in here. These are part of our 5 series switchers from Atlona. We call this the 5 series because they each offer 5 different inputs. Now, starting with that first presentation switcher there in the upper left corner, that's called the SW51. 5 HDMI inputs, 1 HDMI output, with audio de-embedding built into that box. Just below that is the 52 or 52 ED. Now this is 5 inputs with 2 outputs. The ED stands for extended distance. Notice on the outputs there's 1 HDMI output, and beside it is a mirrored HD base T output. So I can connect 2 displays to this. This might be a flat panel on the wall and a projector on the ceiling. It could be a projector on the wall, on the ceiling rather, and a small conference monitor for a speaker in the room or a teacher. So there's some cool things you can do with this little box here, and it has audio de-embedding built into it too, so you can take audio out to a separate amplifier. Now in the upper right corner, there's a twist on that box. This is the SW5000 ED. Notice inputs number 1 and number 2 are HD base T inputs. That means you can take one of those HDVS transmitters that we saw just a couple slides ago and connect it to the input of this box. This is really ideal if you want to mount this box off into an equipment rack off to the side where it can't be seen, but the presenter needs to have a way to connect to that box, either from a lectern or maybe a teacher's desk or even a conference room table. You can locate an HDVS transmitter there and connect it to this presentation switcher that's tucked away over on the side. Plus I've got an 8-button keypad here which can be used to control any one of these 3 devices. Now one thing unique to these 3 boxes, as well as all of the conference products in the Atlona line, is something called automatic display control, ADC. These boxes have some intelligence built into them. That means if you were to plug in a live signal, an HDMI cable or an HD base T signal, this box will recognize the presence of a live signal. It will automatically start itself up and turn your display on. And you can even set a simple timeout value on this so that once a live signal is removed, so no signal present, set a timeout value, let's say 2 minutes. If no signal is present for 2 minutes, automatically turn the display and the box off. Then the presenter can walk out of the room. So it eliminates the need to have extra control. It's built right into the box. Let's take a look at an example here. So here's that SW5000 ED, note the 2 HD base T inputs. On the far left, I've got the HDVS 200 transmitter wall plate. So this is the HDVS transmitter, just in a wall plate form, feeding directly into HD base T input number 1. Beside that is the HDVS 200 TX. So here's the box version of the transmitter, which I might set on a tabletop or at a podium. And then locally at the presentation switch, I've got a document camera, a PC, and a nearest camera from Snap. You see those across the top there. Audio is being broken out to a sound system. And then down at the bottom, I have a conference monitor, and then a long HD base T run to an HD base T receiver where I have my display set up. And then note I've got the 8-button keypad down there as well. So here is a complete solution again with a presentation switcher, external inputs, a control pad, and audio all in one nice neat package. So to review here, for a complete solution with the S-Series products, feel free to pair those with one of the PA100 G2 amplifiers from Atlona, Episode speakers, any one of our HDVS 200 transmitters for the input, and the 8-button keypad, the ANC 108D. All right, so here's a unique application in video conference. This product is called the HDVS 300 soft codec conferencing. And if you think about video conferencing, traditionally, if you had a video conference room you had a hardware device, a codec, located inside of a room, and that's how the video conference was done. That doesn't happen so much today. Instead, you come in today with a laptop, and you probably load Skype on that laptop, and you're going to do your long distance conversation using that Skype on that person's laptop. Now, the problem with that is Skype is a personal one-to-one connection. So if I'm in a conference room and I've got 3 other people in there with me, and I'm talking to someone, you know, in another building, how do the other 3 people in the room communicate in my Skype session? Do they all huddle around beside my chair so they can be seen on my laptop camera? No, you don't do it that way. That's not how that works. That's not a professional good solution. So Atlona had introduced the HDVS 300 so that you could add additional USB-based devices in the room so that those other members could participate. For example, you can take the nearest camera from Snap, locate that at the front of the room, and connect it to the HD-Base-T receiver portion of the HDVS 300. And then the transmitter, which is located on your conference room table, you could then take a Clear One tabletop microphone and connect that via USB to the transmitter. And now other guests in the room can be seen on the nearest camera. Their audio can be picked up through the Clear One mic, and they can participate in my private Skype session all as one. This has become a very popular solution. There are countless conference rooms across the country where this is an issue. Everyone is using Skype, but not everyone can participate in the meeting. The HDVS 300 transmitter receiver kit allows everyone to participate in that Skype connection. So to complete this solution, you could add something like the FSR round table box interface with VGA, HDMI, power, and data to give you some nice connections there at the table. You could add one of the nearest USB pan tilt zoom conferencing cameras and the Clear One speakerphone along with the Atlona 8-button keypad to the HDVS 300, and you now have a total room solution all in one nice neat package. All right, and just to sweeten that offering, because this has been such an amazing and popular product, where we've got a special offer on this. Thank everyone. So there is an amazing discount being offered on the HDVS 300. Immediately after the webinar is over, Snap will send out a thank you email for attending the webinar, a recap, and in there will be some information about the discount on the HDVS 300. If you're interested in this solution, read that email and reach out to your Snap representative to find out more about that. All right. And that is available for all webinar attendees only. So you need to be present and on this webinar. So if you're listening, if you can hear my voice right now, this is a one-time offer and it's a pretty sweet deal. So check this out. If this is a solution for you, you're going to want to be part of this discount. Okay, we'll switch gears again here. Let's go to something a little bigger. CLSO, that stands for Classroom Small Office. And this is a series of products made by Atlona for those slightly larger rooms. Notice I've got 3 different devices here, and beside each device there's a nice photo. So the top one there is a CLSO 601. This is a little bit larger switcher that offers 4 HDMI and 2 VGA inputs. It also offers analog audio embedding as well as audio de-embedding and microphone inputs in this as well, including features like microphone ducking. So if there's background audio being played and a presenter speaks, the background audio will fade while the presenter is speaking. You've also got a switch. You can scale up and down from 4K resolutions. Just below that is the 612ED, very similar product. However, notice inputs number 3 and 4 are direct HD-Base-T inputs. And like we saw earlier with the 5 series switch, the 5000 ED, you can offer HDVS transmitters as a direct input into this switch. So while this switch is tucked away in a nice rack off to the side, a simple HDVS transmitter can be placed at the boardroom table or the podium or the teacher's desk, allowing for easy input via long distance run of HD-Base-T back to the CLSO 601. Okay. And that also offers a scaler built in as well as microphone capabilities, audio embedding and de-embedding. And the final box there on the bottom is the CLSO 824. Now this has 8 inputs. The first 3 inputs are HD base T inputs, and then you have 4 HDMI inputs and 1 VGA input. So a little more variety on this box. This is for your slightly more complex installation. Notice I show a training room there beside it, something with a bit more complexity to it. But the one thing that's really different about the 824 is this offers 2 outputs. These are matrixed outputs. So with this box, I can actually show 2 different sources at the exact same time on 2 separate screens. So the first 2 boxes offer single output. The final box offers matrixed 2 display output. So that's part of the CLSO family. That's classroom and small office. Here's a nice little diagram to kind of show you how that's all tied together. Got the CLSO 824 in this case there in the middle. We know it's the 824 because down below I've got 2 separate displays connected. These are going to be matrixed. I've also still got an output where I can have a confidence monitor on this. And then notice I've got the HDVS transmitters going into this box. And as far as my auxiliary connections, there's an Apple TV, media player, set-top box. I've even got microphone inputs wired into there as well. Now, for a complete solution, you can pair the CLSO for video with the transmitters we talked about, the nearest camera, or even a BenQ projector or a Dragonfly screen. Nice option to round out that room. And to complete the solution with audio, you can pair the CLSO with an episode 70-volt amplifier, 4 episode 250 speakers, a Sense handheld mic or a headset mic, a body pack lavalier if you like, or a Clear One meeting room USB speakerphone. Lots of options for audio there. And as far as accessories go, lots of accessories as well. Another FSR box, a mount for the projector, a suspended ceiling tile. So if you've got a projector hanging from a suspended ceiling, watt boxes on there, as well as a strong wall mount rack system. So again, between Atlona and Snap, you've got a very complete solution to your application. Looking at multi-purpose solutions, a little bit different here. Here we've got a sports bar application. With this, we're going to use something called the CLSO 840. And this is 8 inputs and 4 outputs. These are matrixed outputs. So 4 independent video feeds at the exact same time. And you have matrixed audio with this box as well. Also for your multi type applications, you've got distribution amplifiers, and in this case we've got 4K and UHD distribution amplifiers, both offered at 70 meters and 100 meter transmission, with either 4 output or 8 output versions available. If you into HDR, you have the HDR distribution amplifiers available as well. You've got a splitter, 1 in 2 out, and a 1 in 4 out version with HDR compatibility. Don't forget to check out Atlona on YouTube and check all our videos available through our YouTube channel. Class is available through atlonaacademy.com with valuable CTS and CDA credits through both those.
No problem. So right now we got a question in there. It says, where are these switchers installed in relation to conference rooms? I think I can probably take that one for Ken. You got several options like he showed, either rack mounted in a room, a service room behind the conference room. If it's in the table, you can put in a box in the table, either FSR box. You can use the HDVS transmitters, the wall plate style. You can mount that in the table. If you want to just do a feed through the conference room table, you can feed through HDMI and VGA cables to the top and mount them underneath the table. And look for some products in the future from Snap as far as racks and things that might be able to help you out in these types of situations as well. I don't know if there's any that was the biggest question, popped up a couple times there. Any other questions from any of you guys? Be happy to answer them here. Yeah, you got them. Yeah, so here's another question just came in about do you have any bring your own device solutions? Yeah, so there is a solution that Atlona is bringing to market. That will be being launched by Atlona soon. More than likely, we will be carrying that, but that's a month or two down the road. But we will certainly take a look at those items and add them on as we see fit and the need for you guys. And remember, the HDVS 300, which is what we have the discount on, is a nice, not exactly a bring your own device, but very similar, where you can plug in USB and be able to share, and the soft codec, where you can plug in any computer and use your Skype or Citrix or whatever you're using to communicate in the conference room. All right, we got another question here. Could you talk a little bit more about the soft conferencing system? I'll let Ken handle that one. He's the expert here, so I'll turn it over here to him for a minute.
Yeah, so the HDVS 300 soft conferencing system. So let me see if I can actually go back a slide here too while we're on this and take a look at that, because it's an important product. Here we go. So you've got this larger box here is actually the transmitter. That sits on your tabletop, maybe even mounts underneath the tabletop. And the smaller box there on the right is the receiver. These two boxes are connected with a single category cable using HDBaseT. And over that cable, they can pass audio, video, control, Ethernet, and bidirectional USB. So this makes for a very clean installation in your conference room, because that larger box, that transmitter, there's just a category cable running to that box, and that's it. The receiver that's behind the display, it's going to take the power right there and send power over that category cable. Additionally, the nearest camera that you're going to mount with the display will connect to a USB port on that receiver. And then bidirectional USB commands can be sent over that HDBaseT connection to the transmitter. And then from your laptop, you're going to connect the USB cable to that transmitter, and you'll have full two-way control of that nearest camera on the wall. So in your Skype session, you'll be able to see and control that USB camera. And I say Skype because it's kind of a generic term. It doesn't have to be Skype. It can be GoToMeeting, similar to what we're using right here, GoToWebinar. It could be BlueJeans. It could be a number of different software. It works with any one of those soft codec solutions. And then the transmitter, also note that has two HDMI inputs, a DisplayPort input, and a VGA input. So that means actually 4 presenters can be connected to this at one time. So first and foremost, this is a full-on presentation switcher for your conference room. This is what makes it different than other products out there. All right, this is a full conferencing solution, and on top of it, it works great as a soft codec conferencing solution, because it gives you the two-way USB control of that microphone that's on the table and that camera, and other USB devices if you have them too. So that's really the power here with this box right here. It's very versatile, allows you to do a lot, gives your customers a lot of flexibility. It's really the kind of solution you wouldn't just install one of these. You're going to find a customer who's got several conference rooms, and they're going to want to put this in every one of them. And all their employees are going to be using soft codec conferencing to talk to each other and to talk to customers and vendors, and this is the kind of solution they want to use for that. This has been very, very popular in the architectural community. So if any of you work with consultants at all, this is a product that they absolutely love to see. It's a great problem solver at a very affordable price. And again, when you pair it with the rest of the products from Snap, it's a total solution in one. And with the 8-button keypad there, you know, you've got the ability to lock down and really control that environment if you want. Plus, you still have automatic display control and automatic input selection built into this box if you want to take advantage and use those also. Good question. Thank you.
All right, so tying right into that, we got a good question. I'm not sure how often this comes up, but nonetheless, it's a good question. Are there any PTZ wall mount cameras that are less than 4 inches deep for ADA requirements? I don't know much about ADA requirements. The great thing about the product Ken was just talking about, the HDVS 300, it is USB. So theoretically, you can hook up any type of USB webcam to it to be able to get video, even a basic Logitech cam or something like that. If they come with a wall mount, I know some of them come with like a mount that you can prop on top of the TV itself if that's what you're using for a display instead of a projector. So you do have some options there because of the USB functionality. Another question that came in is how do these products compare with some of the big boys on the block, the Extrons, the Crestrons? Again, I'll turn that over to Ken since he's the product expert on this stuff. And just, yeah, how do these compare?
Good question there. So it depends on in the order line. Everything we looked at here today and more have a 10-year warranty. So right out of the door, you've got a better warranty than the Crestrons and the Extrons of the world have out there. So that's great to know. You're also going to have advanced replacement, one overnight advanced replacement in the first year with that product too. So again, that's something you're not going to get from the other competitors out there. In terms of pricing, you're going to find that Atlona is never the most expensive and certainly not the cheapest. We fall somewhere in the middle. But when you compare it to somebody like Crestron and Extron, we're definitely a value. You'll find a better price point out there for nearly all of the exact same features. Sometimes you'll have a few more bells and whistles on some of the other brands, but if you don't need those bells and whistles, why pay for them? So Atlona becomes a real good solution there. Now, when you look at something like the HDVS 300, there are a lot of this type of solution in the market, and the difference between Atlona and the other brands out there is many of them are not a full conference room switcher. They are a product that allows you to do some kind of overlay or telestration, or plug in a USB dongle and click to display something. It's not necessarily a full solution, but you take the 300 paired with these features, these other offerings from Snap, and you've got a full solution out there at a price point that is still beats any of those solutions from the Trons, as I like to call them. And then when you look at a product like the CLSO 840, I kind of breezed through that. I was coughing a little bit on the call there, but the CLSO 840, that 8 input, 4 output matrix switcher, this product is ideal for things like multi-purpose rooms and split rooms. So a room where you've got maybe a divisible wall. Sometimes it's one large room. Sometimes it's 2 smaller rooms. You can use the CLSO, one device to control 2 rooms, no problem. And that product goes head-to-head with products from Crestron and Extron. For example, Crestron makes something called the DMPS S300C. Extron has a similar product, the DTP84 4K. Those are going to be very similar products in terms of size and offering as the CLSO 840. And they are literally 2 to 3 times the cost of the Atlona product, which offers a 10-year warranty. Advanced overnight replacement is in stock at Snap. And with the Atlona piece, you've got 4K in and out built into that. You have 8x4 matrix switching, which includes 3 HD base T inputs. The power supply is built in. I know that's a small thing, but it's a big advantage when you're installing this in a rack. It makes your installation a lot neater. You've got very easy setup through the web GUI or the free AMS software that Atlona gives you to use this product. No need to go and get this large third-party software from the Trons that you've got to probably take a class on. Ours is very simple to set up and use. So there's a lot of great advantages, not just price, but that's certainly one of them. So very good question. Thank you.
Yeah, that's one thing. As I was evaluating options for the conferencing, keeping you guys in mind, the dealers in mind, biggest thing that I thought and I was looking at is how do we keep this simple for you guys? How do we keep the product as easy to install for dealers as possible? And that's really why we started looking at that Atlona conferencing line and decided to go with that. Obviously, we had a relationship with Atlona already, but their technology is based on a lot of things that you already know, HD base T, USB, all these things. And it's a very seamless and easy install for you guys based on knowledge, a lot of knowledge you already have. Here's a question that I was kind of waiting for, and thanks, Tom, for pointing it out. It is, will there be an FSR table box with USB host ports? Reason I was expecting that question is we're really just getting into the conferencing here at SnapAV. Atlona was a huge step into that, and they're, again, great partners in helping us out with it. So we do have a partnership with FSR. We will be looking at next year evaluating the product line from them and bringing on, kind of refreshing and looking at what other products that they have that will be applicable to now pair with Atlona a little bit more seamless to make the installs even easier and give you guys more options for your customers. If you have, I certainly encourage you, my email is right on there on the screen now. Ken toggled over to it. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm certainly open to suggestions on what you guys need for conferencing. It is an area that, like I said before, we're growing into, we're learning more about, and we want to offer you guys a complete solution. As you kind of saw as the theme of the presentation, is that we do have a pretty complete solution now, but we want to make sure that we've got what dealers need out there to install these conference room huddle spaces, divisible rooms, and training rooms, and so on. All right, well, as of right now, I don't see any other questions, but Ken's got a quick comment here, and after that, unless we have any other questions, we'll wrap it up.
Yep, sorry, I bypassed the slide kind of fast. I mentioned you guys had a cold, and I was choking on my words there for a moment. I didn't mean to brush past it. So visit Atlona.com and check out Atlona Academy. This is our completely free online training program. All of the conference products that we looked at today, you can find training on these products. If you're looking to gain some extra knowledge, if maybe light commercial isn't your first forte, your expertise, maybe you've done more residential and you're switching over a little bit, we have some great classes to help get you started and to learn a little bit. It's completely free. You can request a login on Atlona.com through our training page, and all the classes you take with us, we offer continuing education credits on those too, okay? So thanks again for your time today. I appreciate it, and I guess we'll wrap up there, Andy.
All right, I think I got my headset back on, guys. Again, apologize.
Thank you.
Beginning of the meeting, I had some headset problems. I couldn't hear them. That's why I thought no one else could. Thanks, guys. Ken, Andy, thank you guys a great deal for putting this on today. All you attendees, please look for a follow-up email. It will include a coupon code for the special offer that we mentioned in the invite. Also, please just take a minute or two to fill out the survey at the end of the webinar. This will let us know what you thought about today's presentation and some other topics that you would be interested in. On behalf of Atlona and SnapAV, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us today. Have a great day and happy installing all.